it feels good to be 70 because I've been retired for, I've left 10 now for about, how many years? This is the 4th year going. And
4th year?
Yeah, because I resigned in 2017. And I thank God that I was the one who applied to work in tech, and I was happy when I was leaving that I was the one who said I was going.
How many years?
No, it was about 25 years. I think it was in the 26 years that I left tech. So I feel good. I thank God that the journey so far with my life. I look around and I think I have cause to be grateful to the Almighty because my children, all of them are out of school, and with their individual capacity, they are doing well. And I probably thank God that I'm not ailing in any way because that can be frightening. When you are 60, 70, and you don't have anything to be afraid of in terms of health in our environment. Now, our environment is when it comes to matters of health. It's as our Medicare, our healthcare. It's nothing to know about. As a person, I'm even afraid to go to hospitals because I feel bad going to hospitals because when you see the general state of decay, in spite of you may see 5 buildings painted and all that, but the facilities are nothing to write about. Go to even the hospital here in the Kaiba, or what they even call last week, the part of it they call last week. I was there sometimes last month, and it was sad that what I saw in the general hospital, in the teaching hospital, people are being taken care of. There was no fortunate power supply. Some of the relations of those who are of the alien, their relations were using hand fans to make them comfortable. So when you are not in the hospital and you are in your house, you are able to, at least if it is Gary you are soaking and you are okay. I have cause to thank God. I have cause to thank God.
When you woke up on the day you turned 70,
on February 20,
what went through your mind?
That I thank God that I didn't sleep last night and wake up as a dead body this morning out of my fault because I woke literally by 4 a.m. I normally got up. And when I get up, I say, Alhamdulillah, I'm a Muslim. So I first of all thank God. Before I say I did prayers. So I was happy that I've made 70. And I was happy, and I was praying that God willing, that I want to make 80. God willing, I want to make 90, like my father did. But beyond that, I think the greatest joy I've had is that I look at my children because I'm a custodian. We are all custodians of our children. It is God who gave them to us. And He gave them to us for a purpose. He wants to see what we make of them as custodians. So we are custodians, and I can say that the resources God has given me, I've tried to take custody of them to a stage where I know that even if I'm not around now, God has taken care of them up to that point, and He will continue to take care of them.
How did you get attracted to journalism?
Oh, I've been attracted since, let me see, I started working in Lagos maybe in 1969 with my school certificate because the PNT, and the PNT, you know, it's like a next door neighbor to the Daily Times, at Kakawa. So especially when on a Sunday or in the evening when I'm on night duty, and maybe around 1 a.m., 1 a.m., 2 a.m., go out to ease ourselves, maybe to find some snacks to eat. When we are waiting beside the Daily Times in Kakawa, I see farms preparing to depart for the state, and I see vendors. Then, funnily enough, at that time, I see in passing, especially, it's like stumbling into them. People like Mr. Bolabo Busawu, then Aladi Odunewu. I didn't know him until I started reading his columns. But immediately I saw his face, I know, okay, this is Aladi Odunewu. I see people like Aladi Odunewu from afar. I just look at them as that. So gradually, I started reading the Daily Times. Although my father used to buy the Times in those days, but you know, as a young boy, what normally attracts me at first were the pictures. I want to look at the pictures, especially during the Western Nigerian crisis, the Weti and all that. So you know, I remember that particular that particular headline of the Daily Times, Akitola Taku. And I was wondering what was Taku in English. Until my father now said, no, it is not English, it is Yoruba. So gradually, then when I came to Lagos and I started seeing even those who are working for the Daily Times, I started noticing, okay, and I love reading. I started getting engaged. Reading. At first, news never attracted me, but it was the columns, especially on Sundays. It was the columns that attracted me, and I wonder whether I could write like them. Although whether I could become a journalist, that was the first attraction. Then when after I spent before I furthered my education, I spent almost 10 years in the PNT. So I spent almost 10 years in the PNT before I went for further studies by taking a sabbatical. And shortly before I finished my studies, the question was, when I leave the university, what was I going to do? I want to go back to the civil service because the job was waiting since I was on study leave. And the issue, the thing kept nudging that I want to do journalism. I want to do journalism. At first, I didn't know how to go about it. But as fate will have it, I was serving. Break to see what the newspapers were there. Then it was just they would just bring two papers, the Daily Times and not even the Sky. There's a newspaper, the most state newspaper. Okay, I can't remember the name now. They will bring it, so I will go through. Then this particular Tuesday, I think it was a Tuesday, I was just going through the Daily Times. You know, it used to be massive with all those adverts. I just saw a full page advert for the Times Journalism Institute. So I stopped to read it. And that was why they were asking for students to apply. And I think there was only a week before the deadline. So I quickly wrote my application and sent. I knew by the time they would be replying, maybe I would have concluded the youth service. So I decided to put my address in care of a friend in Lagos. So as I was leaving, as I was getting back, my friend had been looking for me, saying that, sorry, my friend had been looking for me, saying that I had a letter from the Daily Times that he had opened it and that covered that I was supposed to come for an interview for the Times Journalism Institute. Luckily, I think it was just a few days ago, and that was how it began. That was in November 1981. I went for the interview, and luckily I was one of the almost about 50 of us that were admitted. That was where I met for the first time my good friend and brother, Emmanuel Whiskey. We were the two graduates in the class. All others were those who are who were already practicing the A level, and they were coming to do the 1 year diploma course. So that was like working in tech. The kind of stories we did, holding government accountable, interpreting the trends, the analysis of what this trend means, especially when you look at the Babangida era. We actually said Babangida was not interested in living power, that he had a hidden agenda, and which he did. Give it to him. Of all the leaders of Nigeria has ever had, Babangida was one person who plotted his way to power. He knew what he wanted right from day one. And that was why he started dribbling the politicians. I think he must have felt a great relief when Chief Obafemi Awolowo passed away, because he must have seen in him somebody who could have given him a challenge. He must have seen in Chief Obafemi Awolowo a politician you cannot bribe, a politician who will always say his mind, a politician you cannot dribble. Are you following me? Yeah. So when you look at, so when you are able to say, this man doesn't want to go. I remember clearly, Alade was working at the time as a commissioner in INEC in Fedeco, in Lagos here. Okay. When Ted was saying Babangida didn't want to go anywhere, when we were interpreting that he had a hidden agenda, one top journalist, and I give it to him, who didn't believe us, was Chief Alade Odunewu. He told Mr. Musa Igewa, normal Whiskey, that I've been to this man severally. I've seen him at close quarters, and he has confided in him that he will go. So when after 8 years, his transition program came on stock, then following the death of Abacha later, Chief Odunewu came to our office and said, I came here to apologize. That I never believed you about what you are saying about the military, that they were not going to go away. That Babangida didn't want to go. I didn't believe you. But events have turned out to be that you were prophetic, that at least you saw the future. So those who are things that challenge us, because I remember you were part of it before you decided to, when for 5 years I couldn't stay at home, and so were my other colleagues, and because there was a permanent siege on the base by the SSS. So, but those things did not, rather than for those things to make us want to quit, I think it was further adrenaline for us. Because, and why do I say so? Because we look at it this way. This is our country. What future do we want to give to our children? That was the way many of us were seeing it. I remember a number of us, I was not involved, a good number of us were offered opportunities to at least to go out, to escape the repression. But I know one or two people who said, no, this is not the time to flee. That this is the time to see whether we can give Nigeria a future. So those were the things when you look at that, it was an opportunity for us. We thought at the time that we were trying to lay a foundation, because at the time you will remember that in this country, journalists were the other political party, challenging the military, saying what you are doing was not right. And they saw it as such. They saw the critical media as the opposition. You remember? Even now, you see any critical media, even now, although it seems to be dwindling anyway, the critical media is shrinking. The ruling government is as the opposition. The pen is still mightier than the sword, but those who are ready to wield that pen as a sledgehammer, to show that the sword is still inferior to the pen, they are becoming fewer and fewer.
How do you see the situation of things like the media? How do you see the situation
with the media now? I think, my brother, it is depressing. Why do I say so? I think because I look at, luckily, these days now, before if you go to WhatsApp, you see all the major headlines, the newspapers. They are very similar. They are treating the same stories. In fact, at times you read the stories and you wonder whether it is somebody wrote it and distributed. So unfortunate. Interpretation has fled. Analysis has fled. I find it curious that until Sunday Adeyemo Igboho came, I didn't know what was going on in Ibarakwa. And it had been happening for years. I didn't know of that. The mother of that man, I don't know whether you knew of Dr. Fatai Aborode. I didn't know. I didn't know of that woman who was, they said was a petrol who runs filling stations, who was killed. But some of the townsfolk are now just coming out that these things has been happening for years. I was seeing one man from Ibarakwa or Gagari said these issues have been happening for 15 years. So where is the media in all this? But I zero it on something. The media has become weak because we don't have resources. We lack capital. And that they will say, money is the vehicle of evangelism. Money is the vehicle for evangelism. The taking up a job in journalism is like for journalists, you could have gone to do something when you left the news. If you went into business, no, other businesses. Maybe by now, I don't know whether you are living Banana Island. No. Maybe by now, no, just talking
Yeah, I
seriously.
know.
You have made more money by going. In fact, because you are coming from a critical media, many people will cut you
Yeah.
so that you can make money, so that they can compromise you. Are you following me?
Yeah.
So journalism is a calling, but the calling has become
Danger.
endangered. That's the word. Because we lack resources, capital. We are losing resources in other ways, like good hands. The best hands in journalism, they're outside the media. Even before now, in the past, it was the banks who will come, then followed by the oil industry, then followed by telecoms. Look at our people that are outside the media. Some of them they earn good money, but they are not happy doing what they are doing. If they are earning that money in the media, they won't go away. They won't go away. So, and the question you ask, the kind of investigation we are doing, Intel and the news, you can't do it without money. One of my former junior colleagues in the Intel was telling me recently that where he works now, a few of them are there, a few staff are there, that when they are asked to investigate a story and there's no money forthcoming, they say, this is not how we do it in Intel. They say, okay, we see you used all the money you have been using to pay salaries, to investigate stories. That was why you couldn't pay salaries. You see, they turned it into something comic. That we see now, you are using all the money you should use to pay salaries for investigating stories. So where is Tel now? It's unfortunate. It's the same thing with the news. Because we committed a lot of resources to investigate, to getting good stories. Because these days, when you have not paid salaries, then you have not given money, you have not released money to investigate stories or to do report. How can you expect a good story from your reporter? If your reporter has not been paid for 2-3 months and you are saying you should go and do stories and he's still coming to work, then he's doing some other things because he has bills to pay.
Yeah.
What I see is, I don't think I don't like a situation where journalists want to live like superstars. Are you following me?
Yeah.
I don't want us to go and live in Banana Island. I don't want us to say we want to go and live in highbrow areas.
Yes.
Although there's something wrong with it. If your pay
They
can sustain it. I don't say you shouldn't ride a Hummer Jeep or the best Land Rover in town if it is your pay that is bringing it. But if you are earning 100,000 naira a month as a journalist, then you are living the life of somebody who is earning 1 million. Then there's something wrong somewhere. You are compromised. I hear that some newspaper owners or some media owners will say, when they complain to them that we have not taken salaries, they say, but you have your identity card. So what are you using your identity card for? So what is that suggesting? That you should go and compromise your job, your organization. I remember, and that was one thing we frowned at in TER. I'll give you an example. I think around either 90s, 1997. No, I think it was after the military left. Early in 2000 or 2001, there was one spare part dealer who had been short-changed by his business partners in China. He wanted to import some goods, and he had paid. And for nearly 1 year, the good half did not come. And he wanted his money back. He had gone everywhere, and somebody else said, okay, go to tell. They will do a good story for you, so that if they are able to spotlight it. And he came, believing in us. It's a good thing to say, go, if, for instance, if somebody wants to your city people for something good now, they say if you go to city people, they will do a good story for you. And they came. So the guy, they said, go to tell, and he came, because he narrated his ordeal. And we assigned a journalist of the business desk to investigate the story. He needed to go to Abuja to attend to the Chinese embassy. And we approved money. I think that was about 60,000. I'm talking of early 2000, early 2000, it's either 2000 or 2001. Then he did a story, and innocently we published. But after about 2 months later, or 3 months after the story was published, the complainant came back and said, he met me. I said, but your story has been published. He said, yes, but there were other angles that your man promised he wanted to investigate further, and that he needed more money, and that he gave him some money. I said, how much? He gave him another some 60,000. I said, that's not possible. I said, that I won't lie. Why should I lie? I was so disappointed. I said, unfortunately, the guy was not in the office that day. So I said the guy should come back the following day. He came back, and I said, so I confronted them. And the guy repeated what he had told me. And we asked, is that? He said, yes. So we said, okay, tomorrow bring his money. I don't know where you want to find it, but bring his money. And he brought it the following day. And we gave it to the man. Then we fired the guy. Funnily enough, by a new newspaper was starting, about 2 or 3 months later, it was business editor somewhere. So when you look at that, even, you will understand this is somebody who is already is getting his salary regularly then. But he was still compromising the organization because he was living above his means. I don't say you shouldn't wear good shoes. I don't say you shouldn't wear good clothes. If it is your honest earnings that are providing them, it is good. And nobody should help a journalist if he writes a good car. But is it the job that has provided it? Are you following?
Yeah.
That's the most. So when you look at the media now, there's lack of capital. And I keep wondering, instead of scattering energies, I don't know how to describe it, shouldn't there be managers all over the place? Because we see capacity. Well, there's still a lot of capacity in the media. But I think the energies are so diffused, pursuing the same thing. But if we merge some organizations whose worldview, for instance, is celebrity, is city people, and maybe what is my brother? Say global people. Yeah. If they are fishermen, and if each of the organizations is struggling, and we see how can we combine efforts and have more gravity in a merger. Are you following me? For instance, if the kind of headaches you will have as a sole publisher, the kind of headache maybe our global people brother will have as a sole publisher, if you merge energies, you are likely to be able to share those headaches. It will come down. If you are not there, he will be there. When he is not there, you will be there. Then the kind of things you'll be doing, you'll be. I don't know where I'm
You're
making
making
my
sense.
point.
You're making
Yes.
sense.
So because we are so look at what happened. Look at in the last 2 decades, there have been so many old newspapers, even in the Western world, that have gone under, especially with the age of the internet.
Mm.
So online media, they seem to have taken over.
Mm.
But what I realized is that what is missing, like I said earlier, is that content has become shoddy.
Mm.
Content has become empty.
Mm.
When you look at some newspapers, there's nothing.
Mm.
And don't forget, there are so many editors now. You should still be reporters.
Mm.
You do 1 year because you can write flowery language. Flowery language. The day I was made acting feature editor of the Daily Times, 4 years, about 4 years into my working there, I was afraid. Because the question I asked myself, I did a retrospection. Have I acquired enough experience? And I shared my fears with 1 or 2 people. They said, but it didn't just come to you. They said you have acted as editor of the Lagos Weekend for 3 months. You have acted as editor of Spear Magazine for 3 months. So that was why Mr. Remiak must have recommended you, because he was leaving, he was retiring from the Times Group. I was our official editor. And I guess he was the one who recommended me that they should let me act. So I had my fears. Sorry, seriously, I had my fears because I had a feeling that I have not had enough experience. But praise be to God, the shoe didn't become oversized. It didn't become oversized because the little experience I had editing the Weekend, Lagos Weekend, and the Spear Magazine, then coupled with the fact that even as a young features writer, a few months into my joining the Daily Times, I remember back then the features editor, because when I joined the Daily Times, I was the first features editor I had was Dr. Ashike Okafor. When he was moved, I think to Sunday Times, then Mrs. Tayo Adetola, I don't know whether you took over. And by the time Mrs. Adetola took over, there are days she will give me, after reading some scripts, she will call me and say, go and look at this for me. I don't know whether I'm the one who doesn't know English again. Go and look at this for me and give me a feedback tomorrow. So I think those things were the things that prepared me. So, but that I've been made active features editor. It didn't go into my head. I was scared, but praise be to God. A few months after I acted as a features editor, I was given the substantive job, and I did it for about 4 years before I left in '91 for the hotel as a pioneer staff. So when you look at industry, like I said, we lack capital. And because we lack capital, we are lacking even human capital. Because if you are unable to pay your salaries, the salary of the staff, they can't be happy with you. They may be smiling, but they know that later and you know what I mean. And immediately you turn your back, and they say, look at him. It's the only one enjoying. Even when you are having sleepless nights, they will think you are enjoying. I'm telling you, they think you are enjoying.
Do you think social media will kill the print?
I think because social media, I was afraid. I did some part-time lecturing at the Nigerian School of Journalism, and I see the way even students, journalists, trainee journalists, the way they seem to rely so much on social media. And I'm afraid, because if they as trainee journalists, they don't read newspapers. A good number of them don't read newspapers. They will tell you, this is my favorite newspaper. They don't know who the editor is. Immediately you ask them, okay, Punch is your favorite newspaper. Who's the editor? Do you have a favorite writer there? They can't say. Then there was one particular day where I don't know, in one particular class, we were discussing this issue of social media. And one of the reporters, or one of the students was saying that we, social media, we are the news. We, the people, are the news now. I said, what does that mean? Say, anything we see, we put in social media. I said, so that makes you, I said, yes, that is no journalism, you know. I said, but what is journalism? I said, no, that's not journalism. I said, there's nothing like citizen journalism. You may have citizen reporter who can tell you, city people, something like this is happening to this place.
Yeah.
Can you go and investigate?
Okay.
But in this case, you hear somebody tells you, it is still a rumor. Somebody tells you, they have killed 10 people in Agege without confirming, without verifying. Put it in social media. So that's why I'm talking of content. And unfortunately, you discover that even our newspapers, they repeat the same story without investigating. That's why some even those who still care about the media that are not in the media, who don't have any relationship with the media, they just turn up their nose at us. Say you people are not reporting anything. So it goes back to the issue of content. Social media doesn't the way WhatsApp, all the messages on WhatsApp, all the messages in Instagram, all messages in Twitter, they don't investigate them. The only way journalism can make it better, rise above that, is to investigate those stories rather than slamming it as if it is. So the mainstream media should use even social media to have their own social media platform. Their own, I guess I would prefer to go to the line to verify certain news, to read certain things on city people online. I will know, okay, these are people I can trust. Rather than go see it, you see someone, okay, Matola Kennedy was reacting to a few days ago to insinuations that she has befriended Adams Oshiomhole. She said under no circumstances she never reacted to that kind of thing. But it was an anonymous online or social media platform that nobody to hold responsible. Unfortunately, don't be surprised. Some media will name repeat the same thing. So you wonder what is happening. So it is that we are unable to use the online, that I'm talking of mainstream media now. Our inability to even raise the stakes. We are giving too much room to fake rumors by joining social media to even promote those rumors. It is unfortunate. There was a feature almost about 5 million or 6 million, by Kadari Ahmed.
Yeah.
Where he was saying that she was saying that the media was promoting the kind of stories they do, was promoting yes, was raising is possible, is capable of leading to chaos and all that and anarchy. But honestly, what I don't know is that I've not seen any serious mainstream media reporting what I would consider as terrible news that can lead to. You know, if any mainstream media reports anything that can lead to chaos, you know what the security people will do. Rather, what I see is that we have failed to even engage with the news. And that was what I was saying much earlier. The crisis in Ibarakwa had been on for years. The media didn't engage with it. To the extent that even those governing the place, and that's an area that has councillors, that has local government chairman, that has legislators at both the state and national level, that has a government. And those things were going on, and nobody was raising hell. Are you following me? Yeah. Because if politicians could trivialize it, why should the media? Why should the media? So the greatest problem the media has today is lack of content. Are you following me? Yeah. We have lack of content, and like I have said, we have lack of content because we don't have capital. We don't have capital. Our energies are too diffused, and because of that, honestly, the politicians don't give a damn about us now any longer because they have money. We don't have. But in the past, even if we don't have money, we were able to shout, but we are no longer shouting. Rather than shouting, we want to kill like other people for the crumbs coming from that thing. And that, so it is like politicians have us where they want us. We are no longer watchdogs. Are we? Are we still? We are no longer watchdogs. Or if we are still watchdogs, our own dogs are not biting any longer. It's either they have become too weak or they are perfect. I don't know whether I'm making sense. So the media, like you are trying to assist me with sending that. And I look at media leaders, they are not addressing the issues. Because at times when the guild of editors, when they want to do, when they are holding their annual something, I see the kind of topics they pick as, and I wonder, you are leaving the substance and pursuing shadows. It's like somebody leaving leprosy to pursue, to keep ringworm. You have ringworm on your hand, and you have leprosy at the same time. Instead of attacking the leprosy, you are attacking the ringworm. So what concerns me with what concerns the guild of editors with how politicians should rule? First of all, we should take stock of those beams in our own eyes. If we can put them out, then we can we'll be able to see clearer. We should address the issues of why the media is going down. There's no doubt about it. We have become incapacitated because of lack of capital. But we are not addressing it. We are not saying we should be addressing the fact that why are we not paying salaries? As at when due? Seriously, we should be addressing it. we should be addressing the fact why don't we have enough resources to do more, to do better stories. This morning, a friend called me that he was starting up a new magazine to target entrepreneurs. And I wonder, unless somebody gives me, I don't know, maybe 100 million in advance as my own share, as my own maybe pay for 3 or 4 years. I can't engage in any media business now because I know the rigors. The rigors of running a media house is 25 hours. After you have you thought you are done for the day, as you are going home, the headline you did cast, you are working, is it appropriate? And that will give you sleepless nights. Then by the following morning, you are calling the sub-editor or the news editor, that headline, we need to change it to. You know, that's the life of the journalist. You sleep and you are writing stories in your sleep. It's unfortunate. If we have a better, we should have a better atmosphere to do journalism. We should have a better environment. We don't have the kind of environment. Look at, okay, I don't know where do you have the office now? Bagada. Okay. How many hours of life do you get, public hours of life do you get every day? So look at, if you must keep running your office as a standard office, look at, you have to have at least a community setting. Then look at the amount of diesel you'll be consuming. I know in Chad, when we were in Oregon, I know in a month you spend nothing less than 200,000 naira on fuel, especially towards the weekend when we are doing because you run generators 24 hours, and there was one particular one that consumes a lot of. We have a 33,000 liter tank where we store fuel. I've seen there were more weeks when 33,000 liters in maybe in 4 months, in 4 weeks, we will be asking what happened. The fuel they brought about 6 weeks ago has finished. Imagine that kind of. When we were starting in Akron, I remember when we went on production days, we go to NEPA and Agidi to go and beg them that we are going to do production, and they will promise us that okay, what time are we doing there? We say that you know what, you can't do that on empty mouth. So the kind of environment in which we are doing, the kind of environment in which we are doing business, is frustrating. It's stifling. And for journalists, you by now, I guess you must be getting adverts. If you are not getting adverts, is it your what do you call it now? Is it the pack up is something? Is it what is giving you, sustaining you in business? It's not possible. Even if you are selling 1,000 naira or 2,000 naira per copy, can it sustain you? It can't. Because don't forget, you have a viable online internet. People will prefer to go and read your stories free of charge rather than pay. And when you talk of subscription, many people don't subscribe unless they are your friends, and you must have to force them to do it. So they are out of solidarity or out of courtesy to friendship, grudgingly. And don't forget too, some will subscribe, they will never open. I remember that when we started, there was one particular friend of one of us who got a regular free copy after about 6 months.